So when you're going to set up your notebook, you have many choices of different types of notebooks you might choose. This is a very simple, inexpensive notebook with a cardboard cover, but it only has 70 pages. And so that would not be enough paper to get you through an entire school year of science class. So we would recommend instead that you use a notebook like this that has a much heavier cover. This is a plastic type of material. It has a folder on the inside, and then it has 100 to 120 pages. This will do you for an entire year, and this type of cover will last. Now once you select your notebook, get it all ready at school, you'll want to go ahead and write your name on your notebook. So write it nice and legibly, and also include the period. And your notebook will be kept in a little bin or a basket with all your other classmates. Once you have your name and classroom period written on the front cover in a permanent marker, you'll want to go ahead and go to the first page. This is going to be your table of contents, and you'll want to have 5 complete pages designated as your table of contents. So I'm going to model what that would look like. Once you have your title written on there, go ahead and have you draw a box around the title. And then you're going to divide the page into 3 columns. And I would recommend making the middle column a little bit bigger, and I'll show you why here in just a minute. The first column is going to be designated for your date. Every time you do an entry in your notebook, you're going to date it. You're also going to record the entry name, date, and page number in this table of contents. The middle column will be for the name of the entry. And if you don't want to write name of entry, you could just write entry. That would be fine. The last column is going to be designated for the page number. Now, like I said, you're going to use the front and back of the first 5 pages for your table of contents. Once you have the table of contents completed on the first couple of pages, you'll want to go ahead again and leave those 5 pages for the table of contents, and then you're going to start numbering your pages. But I want to point out also, notice how I used a ruler. I used a straight edge. That's real important to make your table of contents neat and easy to read. So I'm going to go ahead and skip back my 5 pages, and I'm going to start numbering my pages. And when you do that, you're going to want to use the outside lower corner of each page. You will number front to back. Let me model what that might look like. Page 1, 2, 'So now that you have your table of contents and your pages numbered, I'm going to show you how to make your first entry. Every time you do something in your notebook, you will make an entry. You will also record that in the table of contents. So let's go ahead and put our first entry today, which is going to be a ruler that we're going to make a pocket and place it in your notebook. So the name of the entry, we're going to call it ruler, and it's going to be on page 1. So once you've turned to page 1, we're going to go ahead and head the paper. So I will write the name of the entry that I wrote in the table of contents, and with every entry you will write that nice and neatly, place a box around it, and then put today's date in this format. Now, notice I've used a pencil, and we want you to use a pencil in your notebook. If you make a mistake, please don't erase it. Simply draw a nice, neat single line, horizontal line through the mistake, and leave it. We want your work to be authentic, and we want to know what you're doing. We don't want you erasing your work. For the pocket, you're going to place an index card vertically on the page. Place it towards the bottom for this particular pocket. You can make pockets horizontally, but for the ruler, we're going to make it vertical. We're going to place tape on the bottom and on each of the two vertical sides. And then you're going to get a ruler that looks something like this. Write your name on the back, and then go ahead and place it in your pocket. And that'll be a handy little tool for you throughout your science year. So now we're ready for our second entry, and so we're going to model what another entry might look like. So this is going to be a pretend entry. We're going to call it a KWL, and let's pretend we're going to learn about insects. So this is all again on the same date, and I'm going to write insect. Notice how I'm specific on the type of KWL it is, and it's going to be on page 2. So I'm going to go ahead and find my ruler on page 1, flip over on page 2, and again, every entry we're going to put the heading, and again I said be specific, so let's put insect KWL. We're going to put a box around it, and we're going to put the date. On a KWL, or anything like a data table, again, we want you to use your ruler. So let's go back to that handy little pocket, and I'm going to go ahead and draw some lines using my ruler. And you can even write, if you want, know, want to know, and learn. Okay? So that would be another example of an entry for your notebook. To give you another example of a type of entry and a little hint that might help make your life easier when using notebooks, we're going to show you one other type of an entry where you're going to be gluing. So we're going to go back to the table of contents, and I have a map from Google Earth, and it's called NMS Google Earth. Or actually, let's just call it Google Map, because it's a map of the school. And again, we're on the same day. And there may be days where you have 2 or 3 entries per day. There may be days where you just have 1. This will be on page 3. So let's go ahead and turn back. I'm going to put my ruler back in there. So this is another type of entry in which you might have to glue a data table, a picture, or the map that we're going to do. So again, we're going to make our heading for the entry. Now, a little hint when you are going to glue an object into your notebook. Do, then glue. In other words, do the coloring, do the writing, and then glue it in. Many times if students try to glue it in, whether it be using wet Elmer's glue or a glue stick, which we're going to recommend a glue stick, but it's still wet and soft, and it's hard to get the colored pencil or marker or whatever it is you're doing to come through. So this one's already been colored and marked, so I'm going to take the glue stick, and you don't have to cover the entire back of the object you're gluing, you can simply make, and even just do a little X in the middle, and that should do it. So the motto is do, then glue.